Hi everyone, welcome to a market review. I'm not really sure how long this is going to take, but I just wanted to express my thoughts and on the higher time frame, especially the long-term side of things, mostly discussing the future of our bull market, which we are still in. For those that think we are not, that's completely up to you. Everyone is up to making their own assumptions. My analysis done today is going to obviously be speculation, using prior cycles as a bit of a base area for that speculation, and looking at the next year or so into what I believe will be bull market conditions. Just the past couple months we've seen this sideways chop below or around our 2022 2021 all-time high, whatever you want to call it. So we'll get into it, and I want to discuss some basically my higher time frame outlook, where I think the trajectory for Bitcoin is going to be over the next year or so, and then go into the lower time frame and talking about the reason for building a Bitcoin spot position here, and make assumptions on your own following my video today. And obviously take it all with a pinch of salt, given a lot of it is going to be based on prior cycles. So historically, historically looking at previous cycles, the halving has been a pretty bullish turning point for Bitcoin. For the last 3 times the halving has happened, we can see from the halving back in 2012, the increase in BTC, followed by the halving back in 2016, the increase in BTC, along with the halving back in 2020, we saw the increase in BTC. So using that to our knowledge, we can almost expect that BTC is going to do a similar thing following the halving we have just had in April, and using, on average, the sort of area we usually trade in on BTC, it sits around sort of 300 to 500 days from the halving to the top of the cycle. So that's going to be anywhere from March 2025, towards that October, September 2025 as well. So next year looking like the cycle top is going to be put in, and there has been thoughts on this cycle being a bit longer. So I think anywhere from Q2 2025 towards early 2026 is when the cycle will top, that's for sure. So along with that, we can look at the bottom of the cycle to the top of the cycle, which historically has been around 800 days almost every time, again matching up with our trajectory for halving to the top, looking at around March, even towards September 2025. So there's another tool I want to talk about here, which is the trend-based fib time tool. So this tool is very useful. I'm not a one to use Fibonacci, but this tool specifically is a great tool to be using when we're looking at time trajectory. So as we can see here, from bottom to top of cycles and the halving, I'm going to use this time-based fib tool to show you how I overcome to this sort of price pattern. You can basically see that in the green section is when we get the parabolic run up from BTC, and we always top out towards the red zone, right? And also this depreciation of percentage line, right? Every cycle we are seeing depreciation from BTC percentage, and how much BTC is increasing percentage wise, it is depreciating equally to the downside, right? So we can see here again back in 2017, red period topped out price, red period topped out price back in November. So the way we use this tool is we draw it from the cycle bottom. So let's say we draw it from cycle bottom to cycle top to then the cycle bottom. It then puts in the trajectory of where we see the parabolic side of BTC, and then also when BTC tops out. Along with that, the halving basically always happens towards the entry of the green parabolic period of BTC, right? So if we draw the exact same tool again from our bottom of our cycle, being November, to the top, then to the bottom again of this cycle, we can see again we enter the parabolic phase. The halving happens, here to the bottom of our cycle. And to the top of the cycle, we can see the halving happens. We enter the parabolic phase, followed by BTC topping out towards the red section. So you've got the idea of how I've found the assumption to when we do top out. So if we draw that similar tool on the current or the prior halving, so we draw it from the bottom of our bear market back in 2018 to the top of our cycle back in 2021. Equally you could draw it to the top of the cycle in late 2021, but for me early 2021 seemed to be the real official top for me. To then the bear market low of this cycle, we can see that as of right now we are just entering this parabolic period of price. Lines up with the halving, which was April this year, entering into this parabolic period. So if we use previous cycles, right, mirroring the previous cycles, we can see that historically BTC always tops out towards the red section. So if we draw the red section from the entry to the exit of our depreciation percentage line, or depreciation of price percentage line, we can see that there is a gap between the 150k to 180k mark. So this is my assumption where we will top out in the bull market for BTC around 150 to 180, and that's going to be anywhere from March 2025 towards early 2026, right? So again, lining up with the comments made on the prior cycle's time. So, take what you want from this, but for me, the idea that we've had 1, 2, 3 cycles, all with almost exactly the same time period, parabolic period into the fib zone, followed by the red zone, I can make my assumptions and speculation that we are going to top out towards this 150 to 180k Bitcoin towards March onwards towards early 2026. So from here, it actually doesn't look like there is much of a distance, but this is in log mode. When we put it into standard, the rally that price can see from here onwards is pretty astronomical, right? The percentage from current prices to 150k being that lower area of my future price target for BTC is around 135%. And I do believe that we are only entering the parabolic stage following the break of this range. So moving on to sort of the range we're seeing here, again, it's not something we are abnormal to. We saw this exact same thing back towards the 2017 high. BTC broke towards this area, followed by a consolidation period. Once we broke that range, we saw a parabolic move, right? And again, back in 2017, we saw the exact same thing, right? All-time high. BTC actually ranged for, or went sideways for around 105 days before breaking that all-time high region and then moving into the parabolic phase. So again, we are at this point now where prices are trading around prior all-time high. And the 3-day is showing really positive signs of a bottom around current prices. I really like the attempt of price attempted to deviate below our prior all-time high and failed, and yet we are reclaiming. And since the reclaim, this is the first time we are retesting this prior all-time high resistance / reversal point, whatever you want to call it, right? So for me, this whole region now is a bid to look for that expansion from range. The only bearish case for me on BTC is if we start accepting back under 63k. I think we can trade down towards 52, but that would be only bearish case right now. And for me, until that price has lost this 63k region, I expect prices to bounce very, very soon. I think sellers are exhausted across the board, especially on altcoins. And I think the range break is coming very, very soon. So another thing I want to talk about here is discussing how altcoins reacted in previous cycles to BTC trading towards all-time high. Again, it's not something abnormal, but as BTC trades into all-time high and consolidates around all-time high, in prior cycles, we have seen altcoins lose a significant amount of value. Again, that's not abnormal with BTCD rallying into this sort of area, and I do think BTC will continue to be the leader of the cycle until it's finished with its parabolic phase. I believe this is just another consolidation period before we leg up, and it's setting up very to move out of this range very, very soon. So if we take FTM, for example, back in 2020, back end of 2020, we saw FTM pull back 74% following a early cycle move up. BTC moved into all-time highs, and then from there started consolidating. Altcoins pulled back a lot, like 70% across the board. Consolidated a little bit, which is the period I think we're going to be at now. Following the break of BTC's first pullback, altcoins started to, or BTC's first real market-wide pullback, we saw altcoins accelerate higher. So I think we're around here on a lot of altcoins. We've seen this range break down. Altcoins are here. I think we aren't going to see the big V-shaped reversal that most are expecting. I do think we see a bounce and we see some consolidation, accumulation, and then we get a break about. So now if we look at FTM current price action, we can see the same thing happening here, right? FTM lost its range low area, sweeping. I expect, 55%, really nice retest on the higher time frame on FTM. I expect FTM to sort of consolidate. Meanwhile, in this period, BTC breaks higher. Stronger altcoins will follow, of course, as always, but eventually the accumulation will lead to expansion. So regarding where we are in a cycle, I think we are late 2020 on altcoins and on BTC. I have been saying this for a while now, but regarding sentiment, I think we are around July bottom, right? Regarding sentiment, the fear, the capitulation we have seen over time is very, very slow capitulation on altcoins, but I think we're moving now into a reaccumulation period for altcoins before BTC legs up, and then altcoins will eventually follow. So that's all for the higher time frame. I've given my thoughts there. Bull market remains intact. I see no reason why anyone should be max bearish here, personally. Altcoins, the majority are down like 60 to 70% off the highs. I really think they're exhausted to the downside and are setting up for some reaccumulation before prices accelerate higher once BTC breaks from the range. So to quickly sum up the video and the reason I'm building BTC spot into this region, since our low back in May, we've only got one single print left, right? So one market imbalance left to the downside, which I think we are on our way to repairing before bouncing and taking out majority of this move that we've seen. I don't think it's going to take much to accelerate back away from this area. So bidding spot BTC into 63,500. With a really nice momentum divergence now. Unsure whether this bounces from here or we just leg lower before bouncing higher. For that reason, I'm not taking altcoin left positions just yet. Personally, I think I would feel comfortable building left positions on altcoins once BTC flips 67k. I think BTC is the only coin as of right now I'm focusing on, and altcoins I think if BTC goes towards 63,500, they should run their lows again. So for that reason, I'm holding off. The likes of ENS is pretty strong at the moment, but something like, let me find an example, near. I think if BTC goes to 63,500, you could probably run that low again. And then maybe from there would be a nice entry. But for now, as long as this sell side structure stays intact on BTC, right, I don't fancy bidding altcoins. But building BTC spots into this area simply because of the high time frame significance of this retest and the imbalance that we have left below, I think it's a very nice place to build BTC position. That pretty much covers it up for the market review. There's not really much more I wanted to comment on. I just wanted to get across my high time frame thoughts and the reason for building BTC spot here, simply because this single print is the last imbalance left from our move up from our low. So I'm fairly sure we can see a nice reversal from this price point. At least if we get back above 67k, I think a retest or a sweep of all-time high is going to be likely. That pretty much sums it up for the market review. I hope it was useful. Stay sane, stay away from Twitter, don't be fearful, and good price action will follow very soon. Thanks everyone.